Welcome to Middle Math Academy's Integers, Opposites, and Absolute Value, level number 4. This is part of our differentiated series where we have 5 levels of challenge for every topic. Let's get started. Our learning targets today are I can use keywords to write integers involving elevation, money, and temperature. I can explain the difference between opposites and absolute value. Before we get started, rate yourself on these learning targets. 1 is the least confident, and 5 is our opening says number the number line -5 to 5. So you can see in the middle of our number line, we have 0. To the right of 0 are our positive numbers. So to the right of 0, we're just going to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure you're writing this down. And to the left of 0 are our negative numbers. So let's get started with some notes. Our first note today, and make sure you're writing with me, our integers are positive or negative whole numbers. So 6, -8, 12, those are all integers. Now, elevation is the distance above or below sea level. So if you're scuba diving, you are below sea level. So let's talk about some more key words for positive and negative numbers, but also for 0. So let's start with 0. If you are at sea level, we consider that 0. Make sure you're writing this. In terms of temperature, 0 degrees. And then par is in golf. In case you haven't played golf, you might see questions like this. Par is 0. So now let's focus on elevation first, under negative. Some keywords for elevation that are negative are below sea level and descending, going down. Elevation positive keywords are above sea level and ascending, going up. Remember, you can always pause the video if you need more time. When we talk about money, withdrawals, that's taking money out, a signal for negatives. Loss, owe, and debt are all keywords for negative numbers. On the positive end, we have deposit. I always remember that I can almost see the word positive in deposit. Putting money in your account, gaining money, and profit. Those are all keywords for positive numbers associated with money. And then for temperature, we have decrease or going down, below 0 degrees. And positive temperature keywords are increase and above 0 degrees. Pause the video if you need more time, and then we'll do a few examples. At the bottom of page 1, it says, write an integer to describe each situation and underline keywords. I'll do example A with you, and then you'll complete the rest on your own. Example A says, a person scuba diving 10 feet below sea level. I know below sea level are keywords for negative numbers. So since we're talking about 10 feet below sea level, I'll write the integer -10. Complete B through F on your own. Pause the video, then come back once you're finished. For example B, you should have underlined sea level, which represents 0. Example C, you should have underlined above sea level and written +60. D, profit is positive, so it's +100. E, Kayla owes her sister 380, so that is -380. And the temperature dropped 10 degrees below 0. There are multiple keywords there, and maybe some of the keywords aren't in your notes. Okay, so use context clues to figure out if they're positive or negative, and this would be -10. If your teacher wants you to, go ahead and check in with them, get their initials here, and then come back to the video for page 2. On page 2, we're practicing the same thing. So you're going to complete this page on your own. Once you finish page 2, if your teacher wants you to, go ahead and get their initials and check your work with them. Take a look at the top of page 3. Make sure you're writing down these notes with me. Negative numbers are to the left of 0 on a horizontal number line or below 0 on a vertical number line. Positive numbers are to the right of 0 or above 0 on a vertical number line. The more negative a number, the less it is. So the easiest way I think to think about this is like owing money. So you have less money if you owe someone $100 versus owing them $1. -100 is less than -1. -50 is less than -10, because if you're in debt $50, you owe more money than if you just owed $10. Our next note is plotting a point on a number line. If you ever hear that, it just means putting a dot on the number line. And then distance is always positive. For example, if I was going on a 5-mile run south, I would never say I went on a -5-mile run. So distance is always positive. Let's take a look at page 3, example A. It says plot 8 and 0 on the number line below. What is the distance between the 2 points? So you should have, whenever we're plotting points, just a dot on the number line. So we'll put a dot at 8 and 0. And then we can count by making super neat loops, one loop between each number. And the distance between 8 and 0 is 8. Go ahead and complete B, C, and D on your own. This video will not go over those. Let's take a look at E. It says plot -2 and 2 on the number line. What's the distance? We're going to approach vertical number lines the same way. -2 is below 0, +2 is above 0. And when I count the distance between the 2 points, I can see that they are 4 spaces apart. Go ahead and complete the rest of page 3, and if your teacher wants you to, go ahead and get your teacher's initials. Then come back to the video. Let's take a look at the notes at the top of page 4. Two numbers are considered opposites if they're the same distance from 0 on a number line. They're just on opposite sides. So for example, 5 and -5 are opposites because they're both 5 units from 0. Make sure you're writing with me. It says blank and -2 are opposites. Well, 2 and -2 are opposites because they're both 2 units from 0. And I want you to fill this in on the number line to the right as well. So if we have -2 and 2, we can see that 2 is 2 spaces from 0 and -2 is 2 spaces from 0. They are opposites. And then our last note, 3 and -3 are opposites because they're both 3 units from 0. So in this section below, you're going to write the opposite of each number. So if it said 7 here, okay, yours says something different. But if it did, then I would write -7 as the opposite. So opposites can be positive or negative. They are the same distance apart from 0. This video is not going to go over all of the answers on this page, but to make sure you're on the right track, you should have gotten for the second column, the opposite of -77 is +77, 8.76, -18, -93, that's a 3, and +30.5. Go ahead and complete the rest of this page, and then check in with your teacher. Let's take a look at the top of page 5. Absolute value means distance from 0 and is represented by these 2 vertical lines around a number. Make sure you're writing with me. Absolute value is always positive. An example is the absolute value of -8 is 8, and the absolute value of 15 is 15. Both of our answers are positive. Remember, you can pause the video if you need more time. On this next section, it says write the absolute value of each number below. So the absolute value of 32 is 32. It's always positive. Absolute value of -4 is 4. Go ahead and complete the rest of this section on your own, then come back to the video. This next section says in each problem below, circle the number that has the greater value. Well, the absolute value of -71 is 71, and the absolute value of 27 is 27. So which number is greater? 71. Go ahead and complete the rest of this section, then come back to the video. This next section says order the numbers below from least to greatest. Remember, the more negative a number, the less it is. So you're going to order these numbers least to greatest. Don't forget that putting those lines around a number makes it positive. Complete the rest of page 5, then check in with your teacher if they want you to. Come back to the video for page 6. Go ahead and complete page 6, all of it on your own, then come back to the video. Let's check a few problems on page 6. We're going to check common misconception problem B. Jack says opposites are always positive. David says opposites can be positive or negative. Who is correct? Justify your answer by providing an example. David is correct. Opposites can be positive or negative. An example is the opposite of 3 is -3. Let's take a look at this Venn diagram. It says you'll have one statement in each part of the Venn diagram. Under absolute value, you should have it's always positive. Remember, these lines make a number positive. Under opposites, you should have can be positive or negative. An example is 8 and -8 are opposites. And then under both, you can have that they both include distance from 0. To close out today's lesson, we're going to complete the debrief. So in your own words, write what you learned today. Rate yourself 1 through 5. How much effort did you put in during class? And then what do you think is a common mistake a student might make with today's lesson? What do you think is an easy mistake they might make? Once you've done that, you're going to go back to our learning targets on page 1. At the beginning of the lesson, you rated yourself 1 through 5. Now that we got some more practice, you're going to rate yourself after the lesson on page 1. Thank you for joining us today at Middle Math Academy, where we practice integers, opposites, and absolute value level number 4. This is part of our differentiated series where we have 5 levels of challenge for every topic. If you're looking for any additional practice, levels 1, 2, and 3 are also available, as well as challenge level number 5. Thank you so much for joining us and have a wonderful day.